itch.io's on fire. Donkey Kong is fine. What the hell is going on? Let's talk about design. We're back with more good design, bad design. This is our 17th edition, but if you're a newbie, this is where we talk about graphic design and, increasingly, related topics in games. Things like menus, UI, UX, color choice, font choice, animation, character design, the presentation of information. I hope you like some indies, because today we've got several. Don't worry if your favorites are in a bad design segment. A game can be plenty fun even if it looks bad, and vice versa. All these games we're talking about today came out very recently. That's kinda weird. I guess there's a lot more you can learn this year. Like programming, with today's sponsor, boot.dev. Even if you're not coding all the time, being able to understand, write, and debug code is an incredibly useful skill in any profession. Python scripts can do all kinds of things, if you ask nicely. Even if you're not looking for a new career, boot.dev is pretty fun on its own too. They've done an amazing job of breaking down the process of learning to program into bite-sized lessons, while feeling like you're playing a game, taking on quests, earning achievements and experience points, and working up the levels into more complex concepts and topics. If you ever get stuck, there's also an official Discord full of real people to help you get back on track. Programming's really not all that different from a puzzle game if you think about it, and boot.dev is a cheap way to dip your toes in and see if it clicks with you, especially with their free demo. Try out the courses for free, and when you're ready, you can get 25% off your entire first year with my code DESIGNDOC, if you pick the annual plan. They've got a 30-day, no questions asked refund policy, so you really have nothing to lose. Try out boot.dev today by clicking the link in the description below. Thanks to boot.dev. Good design. Does UX have to be 100% friction-free to be good? I don't think so. You can absolutely have clunky, kludgy, obtuse, difficult, or ugly interfaces that make the game better despite their faults. Sometimes because of them. The clunk just needs to be designed with a purpose in mind. Blueprints is an amazing onion of a game. It's a chill point-and-click mystery with tons of roguelike elements, where you have to build the interior rooms of your late uncle's mysterious magic mansion, and find clues, notes, hints, and objects that can help you get to the even more mysterious 46th room at the other side of the estate. You've got your work cut out for you, kid. The house resets itself every day, and you have the stamina of a chain smoker. But if you can do it, you get the deed to this straightforward house with absolutely no other secrets or red flags. Blueprints, among other things, is a game of economic management. Your resources are keys, which open locked doors, gems, which let you build cooler, more expensive rooms, steps, which let you move about the house, and money, which is money. You have to carefully manage what rooms you build, what doors you unlock, and which paths you take, as each room can impact what rooms you can build next. If you're not careful about picking the rooms with the right layout, you might cut off avenues to go deeper into the house floor plan and paint yourself into a corner. It's a complex game of architectural management, but that's only the surface layer. As you build out the house and gather stuff, you will find loose thread upon loose thread, pointing at dozens of house mysteries to solve. This isn't a specific example, but to give you an idea, a hint in the secret garden might help you solve a combo lock in a bedroom, or find a secret element you can interact with in the observatory, or give you the context to understand a letter you found in the mailroom. Unlike many other point-and-click adventure or mystery games, gathering clues and resources in Blueprints is a very manual process, without a ton of in-game hints about what to do next. You have to keep a sharp eye out for the keys, gems, and coins each room holds, but also for hidden information, all of which you'll have to pick up manually. It's not streamlined at all. In a game like Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, your character has a photographic memory and can reference almost anything worth referencing if you dive into a menu. Blueprints takes the opposite philosophy. There's no checklist of important clues that you'll get to keep in your back pocket to reference later. That'd be counterproductive. Part of the game is to figure out for yourself what is and isn't important, and there's plenty of both. but it isn't a super user-friendly UX. You're expected to keep a notebook with you, writing down things you think might be clues, so you can reference them if you stumble onto something suspicious later. I've got a Google Doc with 200 pages of notes and screenshots for each room of this house. It's great. Information is hard won, and progress depends entirely on your own investigational skills, and your ability to put far-flung pieces together yourself. There's tons of puzzle pieces lying around, so you'll get plenty of practice in, but it's always up to you to do it. There's a general line of thought you see in a lot of interface design relating to clues and key objects in modern games, where streamlined interfaces are necessarily better, and that's a decent rule of thumb, but it's not the only way to build a good interface. Highlighting interactable and key objects all the time can make it so players check out, the game playing the game for them. This is how you get that always-on detective vision playstyle in the Arkham games, or the scout flies simplifying tracking and item gathering in Monster Hunter. The more streamlined a game interface becomes, the more a trade-off takes place. It gets easier for players to progress, but they're less likely to remain engaged with the world, since each little task requires less and less of your attention. Whether that's a trade-off worth taking depends on what kind of game you're trying to build. A little more obtuseness can be good. In Blueprints, the slightly clunky resource collection is part of the manual decision-making process too. Picking up everything immediately might not be the right strategic move, depending on what exactly you want to accomplish in a given run, and you'll have to discover the exact tactics yourself. But when you do, there are so many subtle ways for the game to reward your effort. It's hard to describe here, but the rabbit hole goes so deep. The more you understand what you're building toward, and the more you plan out how to maximize the resources you find, the deeper each run gets. More rooms drafted means more clues you can discover, and more connections between rooms you can make. And slowly, the house-wide layers of mystery will start to surface. That process is what gets people to fall in love with Blueprints, and it's a process built entirely through the work that the player personally has a hand in doing, from start to finish. You did this. Every bit of this. The manual UX may slow things down a touch, but it more than makes up for that inconvenience with what it does to the overall vibe of the game. Every step you take in the puzzle is one that you alone are responsible for uncovering, and for solving by your own actions. It makes for the most satisfying mystery solving game I've played in a long time.
Bad design.
So I got a Switch 2. And like literally 96% of Switch 2 owners, I got Mario Kart World. It's yet more Mario Kart, and that's all I wanted. I can't complain about the tracks. I don't even mind the intermission sections that much. But you know me, I'm a stickler for menus, and this game kills me. I don't know what it is with first-party Nintendo games, but their UI teams can't seem to display big lists of things anymore. The ones in Echoes of Wisdom fell apart only after you filled up your inventory. Mario Karts are a problem from the start, like the character select. There's no reason half of the 3,000 characters couldn't have been costume options in a sub-menu. I don't care what you say. Burger Toad is not a new character. We already went over this in Mario Kart 8. Scrolling end to end to find unlocked costumes takes way too long. But this vehicle menu is way better than the Reels in 8. In the time trial mode, data is bare bones and doesn't show individual lap times anymore. Racing against ghosts can be annoying too. The world record and friend ghosts are all combined into this big unlabeled jumble to scroll through. In free roam, there are more usability problems. There's tons of stuff to collect, but free roam doesn't give you enough info about what you're collecting. How many Peach medals are there in total? Where are the ones that you've already collected? How many are in each region? Who knows? There's info on the question mark panels and the costumes you still need to unlock, so why not everything else? The P-switches and Peach coins thankfully change color based on whether you've completed them, but you'll be better off looking up a third-party map if you want to go for 100%. Also, there's no compass. Come on. I'm just surprised the team that can make this is okay with menus that look like this. Are the menus bad? Yes. Is it a minor point in the grand scheme of Mario Kart World? Sure. Should Nintendo be able to do better by now? I think so. Is this still, on balance, a step up from Echoes of Wisdom? Yeah. At least the game itself is really good. And how can I get mad at a game that lets me play as Dolphin driving Dolphin? Maybe there's still hope.
Good design.
Wait, I forgot about one more Mario Kart thing. They borked up their online lobby track selection. They said they fixed it. They did not. But that forced me to switch to the second best Switch 2 game, Donkey Kong Bananza. It's good. Bananza is kind of a crazy platformer when you think about it. The core mechanics revolve around being able to dig through the majority of every environment in order to find stuff and complete objectives. If you really want to, you can literally dig a level out to its skeleton. This greenish, indestructible stuff that works like bedrock in Minecraft. But even though it seems to be built on the idea of shaping and destroying every stage, Bananza is still a collectathon at heart. But then, how do you make a 3D collectathon platformer where half the stuff you're looking for is hidden underground? Bananza on its surface is not too dissimilar from Mario Odyssey, with a few structural changes. Mario didn't have character progression, but Donkey Kong now has a skill tree. You collect bananas and fossils that enhance DK's abilities, or unlock cosmetic pieces. All the stuff to collect is scattered in different underground layers, which are huge, densely packed sandboxes with a ton of verticality to dig through. The bananas, and especially the fossils, are mostly secreted away underground. Some are on the surface, but for most, you'll have to navigate through solid material to find them. There's never been a more find the needle in the haystack collectathon than this. It could have been very easy to lose your way in here. Nintendo's in-house development team had to figure out how to make traversal and navigation tools that made digging around as painless as possible. First of all, moving around is a breeze. DK can climb most surfaces and can punch in any direction at any time, so digging your way around and back up to the surface is rarely a problem. Getting lost isn't an issue either. DK can clap to do a sonar pulse that both grabs nearby pickups like gold, and more importantly, highlights key objects and collectibles that might be hidden nearby, either underground or behind a wall. The physical movement and the degree of X-ray vision that the camera itself has could have been a problem in a game like this. Just look at how annoying wrestling with the camera is in Mario 64 when it hits solid objects. What to show and what to hide when there's lots of stuff between the camera and the character is not an easy problem to deal with. As you dig around in Bananza, the camera goes slightly out of bounds, exposing other objects, underground caves, and other terrain, including the indestructible skeleton of the level, and even other tunnels you've dug up. The game shows you clear boundaries and landmarks all the time, so you can keep track of where you've been and where you're going. Not only does the game have to deal with showing the weird and ever-changing physical space, but it also has to design the visuals for the layer on top of that, the markers and guide points the game uses to point you in the right direction. This game has tons of objectives to do, but putting all of them on screen all the time would have cluttered this interface up immensely. To get all this cruft out of the way, you can keep track of your objectives by singing, which brings up tons of waypoints. Some for your current big objectives, but also for marked collectibles you know about through treasure maps. Since half of this game is underground, it could have been easy to make it confusing as to where exactly objectives were located in 3D space. The singing tool helps highlight that there's almost always something for you to do close by, and you're never left to work through a needle in the haystack problem where you have no idea where to go next. I do like the 3D map in the menus too. It updates as you tear down the level and points you in the right direction. On the off chance that you've destroyed too much, where you can't get to where you need to get to, you can always just manually reset the terrain too. This Donkey Kong game banana fits from the careful work put into all its navigation tools, to make the physical properties of the world not get in the way of the fun of navigating the world. Nintendo has built a game that's both topographically complex, yet easy to interact with. You can turn your brain off and go full ape.
Bad design.
I really like Rocket League. It's just car soccer. It's got a rock solid physics model, pretty good netcode, and a sky high skill ceiling. But what if Rocket League was soccer? Well, the studio that made Sifu changed gears completely to make just that, with Rematch. Rematch puts you behind the steering wheel of one soccer player, in matches of 3 to 5 people per side. But the rules in Rematch aren't quite the same as real soccer. There's no offsides, for example. You can hang out the whole game right next to the goalie if you want. It's just a free-for-all of players on a field, and whichever side can score the most will win. But even without the exact rule set, the game comes with a lot of the tactics of real soccer. Since everybody playing is controlled by a real person, y'all are going to have to figure out how to play without the ball. And for the love of God, remember to pass to your open teammates. Like me. Please. Come on, I'm open. I mean, I don't watch a ton of real soccer, but it does feel to me like a decently faithful recreation of the beautiful game. Positioning and spacing matters a lot. Aiming accuracy, one-on-one moves, and coordination with your team can have you running circles around your opponents. It can be flashy and very fun when your whole team gets a touch right before a goal. What a simple, brilliant idea for a competitive online game. How's the netcode? Oh no. Rematch feels like a throwback from 2002. I haven't seen a modern game this hitchy in a long time. What does this have to do with graphic design, you say? Maybe it's a stretch, but this awful netcode does play on the idea of the presentation of information. This game is all about positioning and anticipation. Maybe it's not as fast twitch as a fighting game, but it's still just as important to be able to read the situation and be confident in what's happening. To execute on any actual plan, you need to know where the ball is, where everyone is standing, and where you should try to run to. This layer of netcode jank makes it so you are never quite fully confident about where the ball is, or where the goalie will be. If you lose the ball, was it your mistake? Or did the game not show you the right info? The constant second guessing is not a good place for a competitive multiplayer game to be. But if you still don't think that's graphic designy enough, I'm sure I can find something. Oh, I got it. Alright, check this out. Rematch's control prompts are jank, but they're jank in a very specific way. Up here, why would you put A and E as your left and right submenu toggles when using a mouse and keyboard? The controller maps it to left and right bumper, but A and E aren't positioned in the right place for that. Why's that? Can you guess why if I told you that the developer Slowclap is a French studio? Okay, here's the layout of a keyboard. Q and E would make the most sense as a pair for left and right on a QWERTY keyboard, right? They don't got QWERTY keyboards in France. They got AZERTY keyboards. Look at that. Now A and E makes sense. It's a localization issue. They hard-coded the keyboard bindings to be French. How's that for graphic design? This footage is almost all recorded right after the recent patch too. I'm sure it'll improve. I hope it improves. But I'm playing this under protest. When it works, the game's amazing, but going from Rocket League's netcode to this is a gigantic step backward. Maybe check back in a few months.
Good design.
Alright, it's time to tear this friend slop down a couple... Wait, good design? Really? Huh. At first glance, P can seem like just another goofy flavor of the month co-op game, but it does a few clever things with its interface and visual design that help make it a surprisingly good and easy to learn climbing game. Peak is a pseudo roguelike survival climbing mashup, where after your plane goes down, your only shot at rescue is to climb up a series of biomes to get to the title card and get saved. The mountain is the same for everyone playing, but a new one gets created every day. So the game is about reading the landscape and finding a viable route to the top, with or without your friends. There's only one limiting factor. Well, two with the fog, but just don't be slow and you'll be fine. They condensed all the other limiting factors into one clever little bar at the bottom of the screen. This is your stamina bar, and like in Breath of the Wild, you can only climb for as long as your stamina will let you. But everything you do might impact the size of that bar. Every negative status will take a bite out of it. Hunger, fall damage, poison, burns, cold, spooky, sleepy, and heavy. You have to manage your inventory, watch where you step, and be careful not to fall too far in order to keep your stamina bar high and make sure you have the strength to climb up the routes you spot. Short bursts of climbing are your go-to move, But sometimes the only way up is to slap a band-aid on, eat your toasty marshmallow stick, and grit it out to make the next landing. Your friends can lend a helping hand too. Better keep them around. Each form of damage is represented with its own icon and color, and each bar segment is distinct from the others, so it's easy to take a glance at the bar and know exactly what you need to do to feel good again. When you take a hit, the screen will pulse with that color, to really reinforce the cause and effect of what you're doing, and to make sure you're kept aware of your changing limits. I love the stamina bar here. It's such an intuitive way to take a half dozen unique statuses and make them all impact the game's biggest mechanic. And this system does make every one of these statuses feel like they really actually matter in an equal way. A little hunger is something you can power through, but if you let these little chip damage bits add up, you'll really start to feel it as you try and fail to get to platforms you would have easily gotten to if you weren't half dead from an errant landmine or took a walk in the lava. Environmental hazards are often color-coded to the bar as well. Purple is poisonous, like the blotches on this poison ivy. Deep blue ice is too cold to touch, and glowing red rocks of magma will soon burst into flames in front of you. Also, don't touch. Making this game easy to read in general was clearly a visual design priority. Besides the bar, it also shows up in the weather hazards in some biomes, like freezing directional winds. None of this is complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Like many bits of great design, using basic color coding for the whole range of effects and mechanics is simple, but it solves a whole bunch of problems at once. Good job. And that's it. That's all the design out there. If you want to broadcast your personal design opinions, you now have two options. 1. Check out our new Good Design, Bad Design stickers. Bam! You can slap these on anything. We've got a few other new stickers in the store too, so check that out to help support the show. 2. Head to the comments and let us know about games you want us to put in future Good Design, Bad Design episodes. Since we've started doing this series, it's been getting tougher to find truly terrible graphic design in commercial games, so any tips we get are appreciated. Great design doesn't have to be a monumental thing. It doesn't have to be flashy or complicated. It can be simple, understated, or just really convenient, and improve a game.